Okay, Fragger tutorial part 10 or part 65. Right, we've got our bullets going. Let's just recap that in case you've forgotten. I'll just run my vid. Come on. So we had bullets shooting in the colour from where the tanks are and dying after 4 seconds. Okay. Right, we need to do some collision detection. So let me just run it again because I should just point something out there. On my map, and I'm going to get you to change this on one of your maps, I've got the outside tiles, which are absorbing wall type. I have got red tiles, which are bouncy tiles, and I've got brown tiles. You can see the brown tiles next to the tank. Those ones, they are soft walls, so they're shootable, so they get destroyed by a bullet. These ones, the bullets are going to bounce off. Okay, these ones, the bullets are just going to die when they hit them. All the other tiles, these floor ones and these sand ones, the bullet's just going to fly across them. They don't even need to look at them. Okay, so that's what we're going to set up. Okay, so let's go back to the bullet code. Alright, so I'm in bullet, and what I'm going to do, where I did s.onUpdate face direction, okay, I'm going to add another one. I want another update routine. I'm going to do some tile checking, so I'm going to say on update plus equals tile collision. Okay, I must do plus equals, because what I'm saying is when you do my updates for this bullet, run my face direction subroutine, but also, which is why we put plus equals, also run the tile collision subroutine, which I haven't created yet. I'm about to do that. Okay, so let's just create that. So just above our face direction routine, I'm going to say private void tile collision, and again it's going to pass me a sprite, which is my bullet. Okay, right, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask the level, the tile map, are there any tiles underneath our bullet? Okay, have we hit any tiles? But we only want to look at the wall types. Now it may be that at a certain position we will be hitting more than one tile. If you're in like a corner, okay, and that means we may have multiple tiles, but we don't know. We might have none, we might have one, we might have two. Worst case scenario, you might have probably 3 maximum that you're touching all at once. It depends on how big your sprite is as well and how fast it's moving. Okay, so we're going to end up, when we ask the level what tiles we're hitting, we might end up with a list of them. So we need to hold a list. So this is how we're going to go about it. So in our code, we represent tiles with tile positions with point types. So we're going to create a list of point, okay, and we're going to call that tiles, and we're going to store in that, we're going to say assets.active level, we're going to say map tile collision align, and we're going to say check my bullet comma, then it wants a list of tiles that I want to check against. So I'm going to press enter because this is going to make this line long, and we used this list when we did the tanks colliding with the walls. So we said check for type.bouncy wall, type dot, remember that's capital T that time, soft wall, and type dot absorbing wall. Okay, remember the braces specify that array, and then the offset we're just going to set to 0. Okay, so make sure you type that carefully. It looks complicated, but all we're saying is, to the tile map, we're saying, check this bullet sprite and see if there are any of these 3 types of wall. If there are, tell me the positions that those walls are at. Okay, those tiles. If there's more than one, stick it in there. So that's just going to get me a list of all the tiles I'm touching that meet these 3 that I've said look for. Okay. Right. We then need to work through each one of these tiles. And because we don't know how many there are, we're going to use a for each loop again. So we're going to say for each point collided tile in tiles. That's what we're going to say. So what this does, remember, we did a similar thing when we did the input code for all the players that were running to ask them to check for their keys. We're just going to say, for every tile that's in that list, go and do this loop. Do whatever we put in this loop. Okay? Right. So for each tile, we want to know what type it is and react in different ways. So if it's a soft wall, what we want to do is destroy the bullet and destroy the wall. If it's an absorbing wall, we just want to destroy the bullet. If it's a bouncy wall, we want to bounce the bullet. Okay, so we're going to do these in order of simplicity. So let's do the absorbing wall. So the first thing we need to do, we've got different types of tiles. We're going to say, if it's this, do this. If it's this, do this. The best thing to do that is a switch. So we're going to say switch, and then we're going to ask the level. So assets.active level. What tile is at this collided tile? Okay. So remember, this is the for each loop. It says, right, well, we'll look at the first tile. I'm going to call it collided tile for you. So we just say to the level, right, the current collided tile, what's there? What number is it? So we're going to say case type dot absorbing wall. Okay, and put break. So what this should do is just kill the bullet. So we just say bullet dot kill. Okay, so the first bit looks a bit minging. I'll give you that. There's no nicer way of doing that, to be honest. But luckily I've written some code to do this nasty piece of work here. Alright, but all we're saying is, for every tile that we've hit, work through them one after the other and take action depending on what tile it is. That's all we're doing in this code. Right, let's run that and check it. So the black tiles that you've got, the ones around the outside edge, they were not number 4, I think. When the bullet hits those, so I'll just use the red tank, they're going to get killed. So you can see. See, any other tile type, we're checking for collision against the 3, the bouncy tiles, the soft tiles and the black tiles, but we're only saying what to do against the black ones at the minute. So the red and the brown ones, the bullet's just pouring off them because we haven't put any logic in. It's just aligning them at the edge of the tiles so they don't go onto them. Okay, so we need to add that bit in. Right, let's just look at our level data and we'll create and just put some soft tiles and bouncy tiles in there. So one is bouncy tiles. So just put a few bouncy tiles in. Let's do it like this, I think. Okay, and I've got some soft tiles in there, and that's number 2. Okay, let's just have a look what my level looks like, because we'll do the soft ones next, because that's the other easy one to do. The bouncy one's a bit tricky. So I've got the red one's a bouncy, The brown ones are soft. Okay, let's deal with the logic for the soft ones. So back to our bullet code and our tile collision code, and we're just going to put another case in here so we can say, right, that's what we do if it's an absorbing wall. What do we want to do if it's a soft wall? So I'll just put our break in. Right, so what we want to do is kill the bullet, but we also want to replace the wall tile with a floor tile. So we're going to say assets dot active level dot set tile. So we're dynamically setting a tile in a tile map. So the location of the tile is wherever collided tile is, and the tile we want to put in there is floor or no. Okay, but remember we made some constants to make them more meaningful. Okay, so let's check that and see if that works. That's quite nice and straightforward. So we're just going to replace the graphic, change the tile. So when I shoot forward from the red one, bang, it disappears, and then it's just a floor tile. So as I rotate, they get destroyed. The black ones absorb, blast, gone. Okay, right, let's do the bouncy ones. Right, so another case goes in. So case type dot bouncy wall. Put a break in. Right, I'm going to draw a little diagram in paint to explain what happens. So let's draw. This is supposed to be a square. Right, as a bullet moves, if a bullet's moving like that and it hits that edge, we expect it to carry on moving down, but we'd expect it to go backwards in the X direction. So that's horizontal. If a bullet is moving to the left and down, we'd expect to see it carry on down, but it will go backwards in the horizontal direction. So if we hit the left hand edge of a tile or the right hand edge of a tile, we want to bounce in the X direction. If we hit the top, let's say we're going in this direction, we expect it to carry on going right, but we expect it to start going up. And if we're going up and hit the bottom, we expect to see it carry on going right, but start bouncing down. Obviously in a straight line, but that's as good as you're going to get. Okay, so we need to mimic that behavior in our code. So in order to do that, we need to know which side of a tile our bullet sprite has hit. Now that's quite tricky, okay, but I've written some code to do this for you. So we're going to get either we hit the left hand side, the right hand side, the up side, or the down side of a tile. Okay, so left, right, up or down. And we do this, we're going to use a switch, because we're going to say if it's the left or right, do this. If it's the up or down, do this. So we're going to ask the level what side we've hit this tile. Okay, looks like a bit of a mouthful. So it's assets to active level dot get ordinal direction to tile. It wants to know what sprites, that's our bullet, and it wants to know what location the tile's at. That is collided tile. Okay, make sure you've got enough parentheses in there. See how they go grey to show they're matching up. Okay, so that says what we're testing. So we're going to use this switch and we're going to say, right, okay, if it's tile map dot left, or if it's tile map dot right, then do some code. Okay, so the left and right, we do the same thing. We just leave the Y velocity of the bullet, but we're going to reflect in the X direction. So the code for that will be this. We're going to say bullet dot velocity dot X times equals -1. So if it was going towards the right, the velocity would be 240. If we want it to go left, we want it to be minus 240. So by multiplying by -1, we flip the direction. So if it was going right, it'll now be going left. If it was going left, it'll now be going right. Okay, reflection's just a matter of multiplying by -1. So that handles the left and right side, but we need to do the up and down. So we say case tile map dot up, or if we hit the bottom, we were moving down, put our brake in. So the code we're going to do this time is bullet dot velocity dot y times equals -1. So we reflect in the y direction. Okay, so let's just look at that carefully. So if we've hit a bouncy wall, we ask the level which side, left hand side, the right hand side, the up side or the down side, did we hit? Okay. If we've hit the left and right, we reflect in the X direction. If we've hit up or down, we reflect in the Y direction. Okay, let's just see if that works. And then we'll stop. Okay, so I'm going to run it. Right, so those bullets still hit that. Yeah. Oh look, I hit the top of that tile and it's bounced off, and then they've got absorbed. Okay. Alright, let's keep rotating a little bit. And you can see that it's bouncing off that first one, which knocks it onto the other one, which then knocks it down onto the bottom one, which ends up back on those right hand side ones. So actually, that would be an easy way of killing myself. Oh, I managed to pick that one off. How you use reflecting blocks in your map can have a massive significance, but you could have different types of blocks. Just by thinking about what logically you want to happen and then working out how you're going to do that in the code. Okay, so let's just put some more tanks on. Can I remember the keys? Where's the green one? No, green one. Ah, there's the green one. So the green one can bounce a few balls. Let's move him forward. What's his button? Control. There you go. So there you go. And then there's the rotation happening. So the bullet is always facing the direction it's moving. Look, it's bouncing through and getting those. Okay, so that's our tile collision. The next thing we've got to do is sprite collisions. So detecting when the bullets hit the tanks. And then it starts getting a little bit complicated because we've then got to work out what to do with tanks once they've been killed. Ideally we want to reset their positions, but then that gives us more complications because we want to make them invincible for a while. Otherwise someone could stand in front of the place where you spawn, like you get in 3D shoot 'em ups, and just keep shooting in the face. So we want to avoid that, so we need to put a bit of mechanics in to stop that happening. Okay, and that'll be the next video in the sequence, video 11. Oh, we're getting there, we're nearly getting to the point where we're getting a score. Okay.